Sandra, thanks for responding to my LinkedIn post to be a guest on my podcast. I greatly appreciate it. It's unbelievable the amount of people who responded to that post. If you're holding back putting something out in the world, just do it because you never know. But get right into it. You have an interesting story. Lots of ways we can go with this. And hopefully, I have all my ducks lined up in terms of your life story of events. So, you guys were at the time, it was you and your boyfriend who were about to sign a lease, and then you ended up moving to Bali. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
that's exactly it. So my now husband, then boyfriend. So mind you, just a little bit before then, this is a guy I had just met who took me to Bali for the first time. And I saw that people make money online. This was in 2016. And when we came back home, I was like, I want to work with you. I'll do whatever you need me to do, but I want to work with you. So it's like 2 months into working to going out together. But fast forward to almost a year later, yes. So we started working together. We started our marketing agency. We were doing lead generation back then. And we were going to move to a penthouse because like business was going good. And as we're about to sign the lease, we're like, what are we doing? Like we can just go to Bali and literally rent a villa for the same amount of money or even less. And we never signed that lease. We just put in our 2 months, our 2 months cancellation in our apartment, and we bought tickets to Bali. And then we went to Bali and then we got out.
And the Bali move happened because you both or you were sort of dragged to a mastermind at the time, and then you basically on the flight you said, we're changing changing everything." Is that how that went?
That was it for me. So when I started going in with Serge, I didn't know much about what he did. I had no idea what drop shipping was at that time. This is the golden era of drop shipping. I just knew he sells bracelets online. And yes, so he took me to a mastermind with him. So while he was masterminding, I was literally just getting massages. I was vibing, went to the beach, stayed at a pool, and I met all these people that made money online that had no background in marketing. Like I met people that used to work in a pizza store for like $10 an hour and now they're making $2 million a year just like selling stuff online. So when we decided to go back to Bali, it was because that place meant so much to us. The first time we went at the mastermind, on the last day, we had like a few hours before the flight. We went to one of those beach clubs and Serge was making more money on his Shopify store than we were spending at the beach club drinking sangria. And that was the moment that I said, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I mean, ideally, I want to just drink sangria in Bali. Obviously, you can't just do that, not unless you win the lottery or exit. But just the thought of having that time freedom and being able, I came from a government job and that was like 2 weeks vacation a year, and you gotta like put in your request for PTO. And that was just the life that I wanted to have. So yes, on the flight back, I said, I want to do this with you. And then almost a year later, we ended up going back to Bali to live there for longer.
That was in 2016.
Yes, 2016 and 2017.
So even back then there was the, I don't know what the right term is. It's not remote workers in Bali. It's like a
Yeah.
unique class of people of like you're saying, it's like everyone makes millions of dollars, but no one really knows what any of these people do.
Yeah.
That was a thing
Digital
even back
nomads.
then.
Yes, the digital nomads. Yeah. I think that was kind of like the start. So I don't know how it is now. I haven't been to Bali in a while, but that was the start of digital nomads and people working
Okay.
from home and remotely. Yeah.
And so you at one point you guys had a huge credit card debt and
Mhm.
you were also building a business.
Mhm.
How how did and you had success within like a year. Exactly what was that success and how did that all unfold? Because I think it's a very inspiring story for a lot of people who are in lots of debt at this point in this economy.
Thank you. Yeah, so that was this is the part of entrepreneurship that people don't like to talk about as much because we want to, I being in marketing, I come from the world where I'm hit with like gurus and it's so easy to start a social media agency and make 10K a month and have financial freedom and you just have to pitch. It's simple, but it's not easy. So we started a marketing agency, and then we sold our store, the bracelet store, and we tried to do more e-com. We tried different sort of businesses, sort of different brands, and of course, not everything worked out the way we wanted it to work out. So that was a lot of money spent, a lot of trials, a lot of lessons learned. And kind of neglected the agency, meaning I did not, fill my pipeline. So if there's one advice that I can give to any business owner ever is never have an empty pipeline ever, even when things are really good. But I let my pipeline dry out, and that's when kind of things like snowballed, and we ended up having a lot of debt. We ended up having, a lot of credit card debt. We're like six figures at that time. And we had to come back from Bali in Thailand, basically tail between our legs, came back to Kitchener Waterloo, which is our home, stayed with parents. We didn't end up getting jobs here. We moved to Toronto. We stayed with a family friend. And our family friend was just a little bit outside of Toronto. So imagine going downtown for about an hour and 15 minutes each way every morning. So wake up at 5 a.m. We would work on this new store. This was our hearing aid store. So just flashback a little bit before we went to Bali. Serge is hard of hearing, so his sister's dog chewed his hearing aids, and we didn't have the $5,000 to $8,000 it normally costs. So he has some loaner hearing aids from his audiologist, and he was like, "Well, you know what? Like we know like factories in China, like what if we came up with a solution for people that need hearing aids but I can't afford them?" So when we came back, we worked full time. So again, we were commuting like an hour and 15 minutes each way, wake up in the morning, work on our business. We were able to private label some hearing devices and then make them our own. And we did that for almost, I would say, 6 to 9 months before we quit our jobs again. And yeah, so we had one product, and selling medical devices online was really hard because of a lot of regulations, and it's not as easy as selling like clothing or jewelry. And we were hit with a lot of other issues then too. But every single day before work, commute, we would literally, like, I would take orders over the phone, which is funny because it's a hearing aid store. I would pray, like I would take their credit card number down. I would pray the credit card work. We'll go to work, open up my laptop, go to Shopify, put in the information, and make the sales. And then things just like spiral into a good outcome. And that store made us about 1.2 million in less than a year. So we were able to not only cover our debt, but also quit our jobs again and continue working for ourselves.
My dog once ate my glasses, and
Oh,
what I
no.
mean is she chewed on the glass part and like put a hole to the point where I had to buy new glasses, and all I did was buy new glasses. So well done on your guys' part.
I feel you. I feel you. It's like, it's funny because it's one of those situations like, dog ate my homework, but
Yeah.
yeah, she just chewed them. But oh my goodness, what a blessing that ended up
I
being.
I should have been Warby Parker. I should have become the glasses people. I think at the time that was that company didn't exist. I could have had a bazillion-dollar idea right there because of my dog. I didn't take advantage of it. Um, what so I mean I know you guys have done a lot of different businesses and had lots of different successes. What's the I mean I think the obvious for anyone, even if they've never work for themselves or attempted to be an entrepreneur is you have to work like extra hard. But besides that, maybe what's the unsexy parts of building businesses, or really like the downside of having to give up on that particular dream and knowing when to move on to the next.
Yeah, that's a tough one because it's really knowing when to move on to the next is it's really tough. I think only experience can create that wisdom because we tend to fall in love with our product. We tend to fall in love with our idea. I think the unsexiest part of this is honestly doing the work that you don't want to do. There's so much, even in my agency right now, that I don't love doing, but I have to do, right? So I don't like admin. I would love to just do email marketing and strategy and just be behind my computer, but I can't do that. I have to work with different teams, work with different employees of different companies, and navigate all of that. But the unsexy part of it is just get to work. It's not, working in Bali on a beach is really not doable. the sun glares, okay? Your screen is going to glare. I mean, we had some audio issues before we hopped on this podcast. And imagine trying to sell to a new client or customer and having those issues. Like, you're not going to be able to do it, right? So,
And
wake
you're in a terrible time zone.
a terrible time zone. Well, that was part of why my pipeline dried out because I didn't want to stay up at 3 a.m. to take the calls, right? So I would say the unsexiest part of building businesses is number one would be having to do the work that you don't want to do, the waking up early, doing it, making yourself uncomfortable, putting yourself through that growth, zone. You're not going to just be a boss. You're not going to just wake up one day and be like, I'm gonna have a business. I'm gonna like boss people around. You have to do the work yourself. And also the wall is going to hit when you realize that the world is not as in love with your product or service as you are. Nobody owes you that. So you may have the best idea for a product, the best glasses, the best hearing aids, but your worth, I guess, is determined by the buyer. So it's not it becomes glamorous at one point, but it takes a lot of like this when it gets to that point. And even after I would say we have found success. I mean, success looks different for everybody, right? But for me, success right now means I don't put an alarm clock anymore. I wake up every day around the same time, but I don't put out an alarm clock. I still work my ass off every single day. Like I managed to pay myself for my own business, which is cool. It's pretty cool. I still have to work for it every day. It's not like unless you have an exit or you invest money, you're living off the interest, it's you still have to work a lot. And it gets tiring. You have to give up sometimes parties and events and social things because you have to show up for your clients, for your customers, for yourself.
Yeah. Uh, just to go back to the people who love to say they're remote workers even in 2026, and the photo with them, their laptop, like, uncomfortably at the pool. I've called out some of those people, like, not in a mean way, but on
Yeah.
LinkedIn where it's like, it's so silly at this point, like, we know you're not working next to a pool like that, like you said, it's
Yeah.
you can't get work done that way, it's
No,
so
you can't.
silly.
You can't. Like your son is going to melt your computer. Like, what are you doing? Like don't get me wrong, I will take a meeting with my team if I'm somewhere, I've been in many countries and I'm somewhere sunny and fun and whatever. I'll take a walking
Yeah.
meeting with my team, but that's like an hour a day. It's not just sitting by the pool or by the beach getting sand and every crack in between my keyboards. No.
Yeah. I think it started with Tim Ferriss in the 4-Hour Work Week, where
Mm,
there's these gurus all convinced so many, especially young men, that you can make tons of money and you don't actually have to work. I mean, it's so silly. Like, it's so rare that
yeah.
you have that type of life unless you like create a product that just has crazy demand
Yeah.
and you don't have to worry about marketing and you get a team. And
Yeah.
anyways, um with all your failures, looking back now, is there a pattern in those failures that you see? Like, is there a overall lesson that, like, with the new things you've got going on, that maybe because of all those failures, you're like, "Okay, I could see this coming, and we're gonna completely avoid it this time."
Great question. Great question. One thing that I I would give an advice to people that are trying to do something and become entrepreneurs. Personally, I don't love the back against the wall situation. I'll say other people do, but one thing that I could have done better before, like I said, keep your pipeline full. Now, pipeline can mean a lot of different things. It can mean keeping your job. It can mean keeping doing Uber. It can mean having some sort of an income and not relying solely on what you're trying to build because a lot of the things you're trying to build are going to take longer. They're going to take a lot more effort. So maybe some of those businesses that I try to build would have actually been successful had I had more money, had I not had a short runway, had I had more time to do it, but I didn't because I neglected my agency, 8 years ago, I neglected my agency trying to build whatever leggings business. So what made our hearing aid store successful was I kept my job. I worked 8 hours a day and I literally we were so dialed in the sense that we ate the same food. We didn't cook. We ordered from the same places. I didn't think about anything else but building my business and keeping my job to pay the bills. Right now, I'm building another brand, it's a wellness brand, but I'm still dialed into my agency big time. I mean, I will keep my agency because I love it, but I will not. neglect what I'm doing for what's about to come. So one of the lessons that I've learned was do not that's what worked for me. Now, I know some people work really well when their backs are against the wall and they have no other option, but I found that just keeping that income coming until you have something sustainable and you've proven the concept is key. And the second one being do the hard thing. Whatever business you're starting, do the hard thing. It's so easy to keep busy, right? It's so easy to do the content, do the post, talk about it. It's easy. What's not easy is actually pitching. Like in my case, I have an agency, right? I have to pitch. It's sales. It's sales. Like, yes, I can do marketing. I'm a marketer. I can do marketing. I can spend money. I can do the webinars. But at the end of the day, it's being in business owners' inboxes. And that's very uncomfortable. Writing proposals, knowing that 1 out of 5 maybe will close, right? So it's doing the hard work and the uncomfortable work that makes the success, right?
Yeah. Uh, but at the same time, it's I say it's way harder being a business owner, but it's so much more rewarding when you have those wins because it's yours. It's not
Yes.
like it's not like a boss is gonna come in and go, "Well, Sandra,
Yeah.
you you came in at the end and you closed the deal." It's like, "No, I did everything from
Yeah.
from the marketing to getting them in the first call to the last call." So
Yeah.
it's definitely way better. Um you and your husband have spent, at different points, a lot of time outside of Canada, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I almost said the US. You you
Of the
you
US.
you Canadians trick me sometimes because you sound just like us.
We do. We just like you.
Yeah. I would rather be a Canadian in this world than American at this point. But anyways, that's a side conversation. In terms of living in all the different places you lived in Eastern
Right.
Europe.
Yeah. Yeah. So
What,
we
go ahead. Sorry.
No, we lived in Eastern Europe. So I was born in Romania. Serge was born in Bosnia. So we wanted to go, we'll call it back home. Canada's also home. So we lived in the Bahamas. We lived in Romania, Serbia, Croatia, Montenegro, Bosnia, a little bit we went to Italy, Portugal a little bit, but we liked Eastern Europe for a number of different reasons. So I personally prefer that time zone because 6 to 7 hours ahead means I can do life before I can do work. So let's say we're in Croatia, which is my favorite country out of all countries I've been to. We're in Croatia, wake up in the morning, have my coffee. It's peace and quiet. I get to journal. I read a little bit, either go for a jog and then Serge would wake up. We would meet, have a cappuccino on the waterfront, which is a dream, and get the fulfillment side of life first and then work and then, work until 10 p.m., 12 p.m and 12 a.m. and then go to sleep. So I love Eastern Europe for that. The life is cheaper there, so there's no there's no nice way to put it, but life is cheaper. So Canada's like the States has become very expensive. And the culture. So we're both from there. We have friends, we have family. Plus being in Europe allowed us to go do little day trips or weekend trips or 1 week trip. And that's the one thing, by the way, that really worked for us being digital nomads because when you say digital nomads, sometimes people think like you're hopping around every other day somewhere else. That doesn't work when you're trying to build a business. What worked for us was being in situated somewhere for at least a month because a month means I can stock up the fridge, right? I can buy some butter, some spices and whatever. That's number one. So like we're staying healthy. Um um being in one location means we can get a gym membership for a month, right? So and also we don't have to cram everything in like one weekend. So we have 4 weeks at least to go visit this and that and this and that. So we can focus on work, we can focus on visiting, and then being situated for 1 to 3 months means we can just kind of rent a car or take the train for the weekend and go somewhere else, go to Italy, go to Slovenia, go literally anywhere in Europe. So to me, Europe is perfect. I love Asia too, and I want to go back to Asia, but the time zone when you have an agency to me was the hardest part.
Yeah, the time difference is rough.
Mhm.
Uh, what's your favorite city in Croatia?
So have you heard of the island of Hvar? It's a beautiful island. Like it's there's a little town called Yelsa, and I just dream of having a little house there at one point, maybe a little like vineyard so we can plant some wine, great wine grapes. So, Island of Hvar, it's just so picturesque, it's so quiet, it's so clean. Just rent a bike and drive a bike around and eat ice cream, and it's the water is so clear and clean, and that's where I want to eventually live. And Split. Split, we spent a lot of time in Split. It was nice.
Yes, I like Split as well.
Have you been?
Yes, yes,
Well,
a long, long time ago, but I've been to Croatia.
nice.
The people I stayed with a family that ran a hostel. This was obviously years ago, and the family was just so grateful for people to be there and to share their culture and their country, and it was different than a lot of
Yeah.
Europe.
Yes.
Didn't
Yeah.
get It's very homey, like, very
Yes.
welcoming,
Yes.
very instant, like, you felt like you were home. Um, okay, so in terms of your wellness brand, I know it's still the initial phases of that, but in terms of everything you've done, is there something that maybe in 2026 that you're also approaching different in terms of marketing it, or just like your overall plan to get that up and ramped up as quickly as possible that maybe you haven't done with a
Mhm.
business in 2016?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why it took me so long to, start, a brand again. So the last telco successful brand we had was started in 2018. Um, Marketing has changed a lot since 2016, 2018. So a lot of niches are saturated right now. So even when it comes to wellness, like you're thinking anything within wellness saturated, you can say right now, everything from like red light therapy to skincare to hair care and all of that. What is not saturated is the um is the problem. So you can have a product that can work on multiple people, but if you really drill in on one problem a specific group of people have, that's where you can win. And everything is about personalization right now. So consumers want something that's for them. Like it's no longer, let's take hair care, for instance. It's no longer enough to say we're a clean hair care or we are a hair growth product, right? So women want hair growth for postpartum. Men want hair growth for male pattern baldness, for instance. It's great if your product is clean, it has Leaping Bunny certified, and it's made in the US or Canada or whatever you want it to be. But hair care, if you think about even hair care growth is saturated, hair care for postpartum is a lot more niche than just hair care because that means that you know my specific problem. I can breastfeed maybe and still like put these products on my head. So when I looked at the next product to start, I work a lot in wellness. So I'm seeing a lot of the questions that come around and a lot of the problems that people have and a lot of like worries. So I wanted to develop a product that is not just a general product, like clean, good quality, all of that is no longer enough. But I wanted something that can really show a particular group of people, hey, I get you, and I created something just for you. So that's how you can win in e-commerce right now. Other than that, platforms change all the time and angles and the way consumers talk on social media. Another thing that is different than what we did in 2016 is your social media is no longer about your product or a company anymore. So back when we had the bracelet business, we would post a post on Instagram, get like 5,000 likes, organic. Okay. Now the same consumer will use TikTok, YouTube, Instagram for different reasons, right? So on TikTok, they're brain rotting. You want to be their friend. You want to have the get ready with me while I'm like doing my hair or whatever. On Instagram and Meta, if you're running ads, you want to have information that will help your conversion because someone will see maybe your ad and be like, oh, what's this? Like Sandra's hair growth product. And they're going to go on Facebook and Instagram and they're going to see information about your product. And then on YouTube, it's a lot of SEO and a lot of education. So, whereas before it was enough to have kind of like a social media calendar, if you want to do a lot of social right now, a lot of content, think about why is someone on one platform? How do they behave on that platform and what kind of information you need to feed to them? So on TikTok, I would rather have maybe content creators that endorse my product rather than like me as a brand trying to play into some trends and like trying to be relevant, right? Like It's hard for brands to do it. I mean, Ryanair does a great job at it, but it's tough for brands that don't have a huge studio and a huge production, you know, department to do it. So those would be two things that I would say are different. What stays the same though is the funnel. Email marketing, text marketing, ads, those still work.
What I haven't heard someone describe YouTube Shorts at the moment. What's going on there? What resonates with those? Like, I don't. I post things to YouTube Shorts, but I've never used like I never actually view YouTube Shorts or know who that audience is. But like videos will blow up on there so easily, and they can be like the worst video. What's your opinion or like overview of YouTube Shorts and maybe how someone should utilize YouTube Shorts?
Yeah, well, you're right when you said videos blow up because long form is making a huge comeback, which is great. YouTube Shorts, I personally like them a lot for SEO because YouTube is owned by Google. So naturally, Google will prioritize YouTube over other platforms. So I personally use them for SEO. So I do really well with YouTube Shorts at a local level. So our clients that have services locally will do very well with YouTube Shorts. So that's your chance to take a podcast and chop it up into 10, 15 pieces of content and then just get that SEO going. So that's the one way I would use YouTube Shorts.
I heard Gary Vee say something similar in terms of like that's the reason he does random little podcasts. It's
Mhm.
just because it's an easy way for him to have all this short form that then he can just drown all the platforms in.
Exactly.
It's exhausting keeping up with all this, but that's very insightful. I'm glad I asked you that. Thank you again, Sandra, for your time. I think your husband's story is proof that literally life can help you create a business, and your dog can also, or his sister's dog, your
Yeah.
dog can help you create a business as well if you allow it to happen. So once again, thank you for your time and have fun traveling the world as you have been.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. And I really hope that you're going to have someone that specializes in personal branding because your LinkedIn post just did it, man. It was just one of those success personal branding stories. Like, yeah, like, see, I know how to get people to my page. It was great.
Well, thank you very much. It was a
Thank
pleasure.
you. Likewise. Thanks. Bye.